You don't need your daddy to step up for you. How old is Bronny? What about little Melo? Mm-hmm. He got good little criticism, didn't he?
Yeah, because a lot.
We can't talk about Gils, son. We can't talk about Kenya's son. We're not gonna be able to talk about Nick's son.
And his performance. And I gotta tell you, this is why I have a problem with LeBron. One of the reasons why I have a problem, because LeBron is a hypocrite. And I kind of wish that Stephen A hadn't backpedaled just because of LeBron confronting him. His son is a professional basketball player playing a professional sport. He don't need his daddy to jump in and save him.
Dudes do is go on the air in the mornings and shit on players. He was talking about me. Why? Because I got you number 2 all time. I think LeBron James is the greatest player in the history of man outside of Michael Jordan. And the things he maneuvered and manipulated in order to get his son to wear the same uniform as him, which brought that attention. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I want to get into a conversation about me because of how some folks have been attacking me. Not over this, but using this as an excuse to accuse me of hating on the brothers. I'm sick of that shit. I'm not backing up from that anymore. I'm not taking it from people anymore. I'm not just a black man, I'm a brother.
What do you make of LeBron confronting you in the aftermath of that situation?
I thought it was weak. I thought it was some bullshit.
What's happening with y'all? We need a reset. This is gravitating away. Look, man, this whole LeBron fiasco, checking Stephen A. Smith midway through a basketball game, has a lot of folks up in arms on both sides of the aisle. And I can't believe I'm gonna say this, man. Stephen A. Smith can be very raccoonish, but he's doing his job end of the day. Is he animated? Yes. Does he buck dance? Of course he does. But I think y'all seem to forget most of these guys do. But without going into other subjects, I want to play the video first showing LeBron checking Stephen A.
I am pleading with LeBron James as a father. Stop this. You're exposing your son like this?
Now, a lot of people been trying to decipher this. Some feel like they have, and then Stephen A substantiated that basically LeBron was checking him about his son. I was watching the Gils Arena podcast, and per usual, a lot of people have problems with Rashad McCants, and I get it. Sometimes Rashad comes across as somebody that's angry. Leave it to y'all. You guys call him a hater. But there's people like a Rashad McCants that are just speaking their minds. Everyone do not have to get on the wave train, man, the D-riding train. It is incredibly awful to see this new culture that's popping up, I'll say over the last 10 years probably, amped up over the last 5 years, where you only have to have one point of view, one take. And for this specific subject, dealing with LeBron running up on Stephen A. Smith, there are multiple angles to look at it. The obvious one the D-Riders will give you is a father protecting his son. I mean, it's so unfair to go with it on that angle, right? Because who would disagree with a father protecting his son, especially a black father, quote unquote, protecting his son, protecting him from life or death? No. criticism from the game that he plays, which is a international game where there are many folks critiquing these players. Don't forget the amount of money they make. Moving forward in the Gils Arena, Rashad drops an interesting point, and per usual, he seems to be ganged up on for his take. So let's check this out.
Well, you don't need your daddy to step up for you. How old is Bronny?
20 years old.
Okay. Anybody 19 got criticized? Did Edwards get criticized at 19?
Pretty sure his dad would have said something.
Did T. Morant come in when y'all was getting criticized at 19, 20?
I mean, T. Morant still.
Oh, Zobal? Or what about
LeVar, very vocal.
What about Lil Melo?
Mm-hmm.
He got a good little criticism, didn't he?
Yeah, because it's a lot.
We can't talk about Gil's son. We can't talk about Kenya's son. We're not gonna be able to talk about Nick's son. We're not gonna be able to talk about your son. We're not gonna be able to talk about Carmelo's son. We're not gonna be able to talk about anybody's son. What we doing?
But that's not the first time we're getting pressed now. Kobe done pressed him too.
Well, it ain't about him no more. It's about everybody getting pressed now.
That's
Is this the thing now?
Oh, you think that's cool? We doing our job. So it's sticky.
Stephen A. also said several other players not talking to him, including Draymond, as a result.
Now he's blackballed.
Well, you know.
Huh. Imagine that. Don't say a certain word or a certain phrase and we won't talk to y'all. We won't come on y'all show.
And just as a reminder, I think 137 days.
Did that become
Izzy
a
talks to
problem?
Gils.
So you think guys are getting too sensitive, or is that?
If you responding to what people saying, and everybody got something to say, we got social platforms for everybody to talk and get their opinions and comments. So if you're responding to everybody's comments, you can obviously
Well, not everybody. It's some. It's
it's
certain
some
people.
stuff
Like
you can't
it's just
whoever you respond to, you must respect.
No.
You can only
I mean,
respond to
yeah,
those
I mean,
you respect.
I mean, Stephen A. is a
Love.
big. I mean, he's a.
Love
You know,
your child.
he's really important to the
And
media.
sometimes it don't matter what people do, you're gonna go all out about your child.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. You don't talk about nothing else y'all do. But you talk about his kids, that's a sensitive area. That's something he really loves and will die for.
You put your kid
It don't
in
matter.
the
Everybody
target
do
zone.
it. George Bush did it. Shit, everybody does it.
And
Why
guess
are you
what-
singling this?
guess
motherfucker
what
out?
happens when you
But
do
why
it?
are y'all singling him
Because
out?
guess what happens when you do it?
Did you vote for George Bush Jr.?
I don't vote.
Well, somebody did. He was president, right? So why y'all criticizing him for doing what everybody else did?
Because it's criticism. It's a word that exists.
They say it comes with it. No matter
There's
what.
praise, there's criticism. When you say you want it all, I want it all, you get praise, you get criticism. That's all of
I
it.
want a better life for my kids. If I want his
Then
dreams
you're gonna
come
have to
true,
accept
I'm
your
trying to
kid
do
gonna
what
have
I do,
criticism.
but- No, why?
If you're not gonna criticize him, if you don't criticize him, who is?
Why are we taking our time out?
Yo, so if you had a
criticizing
son
him?
and he
Who
was in the
15th
NBA
pick?
and they were criticizing your son, you would
Do
be
anybody
cool with it?
Deal with it.
Who was the 15th pick?
What you mean? It's your job. You gotta deal with your job and what
Who
comes
was
with
the
it.
15th pick
Let me Google
Of
it.
what?
of this draft? All right then, fuck. Why are we criticizing LeBron?
What you mean? You wanna know the 15th
Yeah.
pick or you?
No.
You about to find out right
No,
now?
I'm asking you.
All right, I didn't want to play the whole thing, but Rashad pointed out something Aries Spears said, and I like what Aries Spears said. And as I've been doing before, I gotta drop the receipts and we'll come back with the commentary.
Yo, what up, it's your boy Aries Spears here. Listen, man, I want to comment on a moment that went viral, I guess, between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James at the Laker game, which Stephen A. Smith addressed on First Take, I think this morning, where LeBron James approached him during the game, and you could tell by the facial expressions and the body language that LeBron James wasn't pleased, apparently, about what Stephen A. Smith was saying in regards to Bronny being in the NBA and his performance. And I got to tell you, this is why I have a problem with LeBron. One of the reasons why I have a problem, because LeBron is a hypocrite. And I kind of wish that Stephen A. hadn't backpedaled just because of LeBron confronting him. Because if you remember early in LeBron's career, and I mean early, there was a moment where in a game in Cleveland, I forget who they were playing, and LeBron James got into a skirmish with the opposing team with several players underneath the backboard, sitting courtside, near courtside. And his mother jumped into the mix and started, trying to curse the players out and take up for her son. And just to add some real context, one of the first things that Stephen A. Smith said was, LeBron didn't approach me as a basketball player. He approached me as a father, which I could understand. So now let me go back to my point. So when LeBron's mother did that, LeBron specifically yelled at his mother, sit your behind down. Because LeBron knew that, hey, I don't need you to save me.
LeBron into the second or third row.
Mama seats.
And Mom is right in the middle of it. Kevin Garnett trying to calm her down. And then,
Mom, calm down.
Here it is the day after Mother's Day. Go sit
Mom,
down.
sit down, Mom.
You know, I know I'm your son and you're my mother and I'm your child, but I'm a professional basketball player playing a professional sport. And this comes with it. So I don't need my mommy to save me. Well, why is this any different? Stephen A. Smith is a professional commentator commentating on a professional sport. He's doing his job. But because now it's LeBron's son, he feels the need to come in and save his son the way his mother tried to save her son. You can't have it both ways. His son is a professional basketball player playing a professional sport. He don't need his daddy to jump in and save him. So the same way you told your mother, LeBron, sit your ass down, you know what, LeBron? You need to sit yours down. Stephen A. was doing his job. Nepotism is why your son is in the league. And that's what Stephen A. was pointing out. We know that your son don't deserve that spot, not over somebody who's more qualified, but it is what it is. Because daddy came to the rescue twice. Stop being a hypocrite, LeBron. You know what I mean? Sit your ass down. DM me for the link to the Spears and Steinberg.
Heard what Aries said, and it's funny, right? Aries is another guy you can align with Rashad, where people don't like him, but they stand on their business. Nonetheless, I don't have to like you, but I could take the message and at least, you know, try to understand where the person is coming from. But people with these takes, right, against popular folks, you're gonna get, listen, dude, they're gonna come for your head, basically. And it seems to definitely fit in black culture. It's like everyone in this culture wants you to think one way. There are people that are loving the angle that Rashad is taking, Aries and several other people, because they hate LeBron. I don't really hate LeBron. You know, big fan, watch the come up, watch the rise. I never really tried to compare him to Jordan personally because I got to watch Jordan play. And two, I'm not an idiot. The eye test, the stat test, any test you want to give me when comparing the two players, it's easy for me. It's always going to be Jordan, but I'm not someone that always wants to compare Jordan and LeBron. I think they're two different players, and it's just something that Stephen A. Smith and several other media pundits are finding themselves in because the NBA is watered down right now. What's crazy, y'all? Stephen A. goes on the Gils Arena podcast himself, and he speaks. And I just want y'all to check it out. We don't have to agree or disagree, but just check it out real quick, and y'all tell me how y'all feel about this.
Things he maneuvered and manipulated in order to get his son to wear the same uniform as him, which brought that attention. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I want to get into a conversation about me because of how some folks have been attacking me. Not over this, but using this as an excuse to accuse me of hating on the brothers. I'm sick of that shit. I'm not backing up from that anymore. I'm not taking it from people anymore. I'm not just a black man, I'm a brother. I'm not gonna take this shit from people anymore. I'm going on Gils Arena's podcast tomorrow. Gils Arena, with Rashad McCants, with Kenyon Martin, Swaggy P, Nick Young and the crew. I can't wait. I can't wait for that conversation. I'm not taking this shit no more from people.
What do you make of LeBron confronting you in the aftermath of that situation?
I thought it was weak. I thought it was some bullshit. But in the moment, I knew that I was listening to a father. Here's what happened. I'm represented by William Morris Endeavor. The founder of William Morris Endeavor, Ari Emanuel, had courtside seats right next to the Lakers bench. He had Larry David with him, star of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm sitting with them. I get there in the first quarter. I'm sitting courtside, and I stand up, and then I got my head turned. And then I turned back around, and a lot of people thought this was the end of the game or something like that. This was in the third quarter. Apparently, LeBron had walked out of the timeout, and I turned around, and he's right here in my face. He said, yo, you gotta stop talking shit about my son. You gotta stop fucking with my son. That's my son, that's my son. And I was like, what? He said, nah, fuck that. I said, yo, let's talk later. He's like, fuck that, nah, fuck that. You gotta stop fucking with my son. And I said, all right, though. And he walked off. So I remember during the timeout in the first quarter, seeing Bronny. And Bronny looked over at me, and he had this sad look on his face. And I'm imagining Pop saw that shit, and it hit him. And he couldn't hold it, and he rolled up on me. And so when I went on the air the next morning, first things first, believe it or not, I know this is shocking for people to believe, but I didn't have any intentions on talking about it until I woke up that morning and saw that the shit had gone viral. Once the shit had gone viral, the bosses at ESPN, now you gotta talk about it. This is you and him. You gotta talk about it. I said, fine. So I go on the air and I said, the first thing that I'm gonna do is establish that this was a father talking to me, not a player. And that was what threw me off. And I was glad, even though I thought that he misrepresented the argument, I was glad he did. Because you see, what he was really talking about, which was confirmed with his conversation with Richard Jefferson, is that I was talking about him as a father. And so what happens is that had he said that to me, then I wouldn't have been thrown off. I'd have came right back at him. Yes, I was. I was talking about you. You did this shit, which I'll get to in a second. But because he didn't do that, I said, fine, you let it go. Mind you, I just agreed to my contract. I'm courtside. That day was when it was announced. It's all over, everywhere. Watch it, I be right? It's a nationally televised game. The cameras are rolling, and I'm like, if I do anything, this is gonna be a scene. Now, we can sit up here in front all we want to and act like we don't work for somebody. Damn it, I work for Walt Disney. And if I had gotten into some shit with him at courtside right there at that moment, no matter how right I would have been, it would have been wrong. And I was like, I'm not gonna do this. But once I saw the tape of him talking to Richard Jefferson Saturday night in Boston, that was when I got really pissed because that was confirmation.
I thought Stephen A was candid. I'm not gonna say what I agree about, but y'all all told me that LeBron was talking about Stephen A chiming in on his fatherhood. Clear as day, LeBron was talking about Stephen A criticizing his son. But you Negroes will never have these energies for anybody Caucasian or that of any other race. I will continue to stand on that until the cows come home. Y'all just won't. You just won't. Do y'all not understand? There has been many analysts that has said far worse things about Bronny and LeBron. But we're gonna dismiss that. You know something that troubles me a lot? We don't talk about it enough, but shout out to the ones that know. Keep in mind, I've never said nothing bad about LeBron. Personally, I love black nepotism. Call me what you want after hearing that. Because when it happens with a lot of other folks, dare I say, nobody bats an eye. So I love the idea of Bronny getting people upset, getting a chance knowing most people wouldn't get that opportunity because his father is LeBron. I like nepotism, but you know what? I'm also someone that's fair and balanced. I understand from the other side of the aisle for folks being upset that, hey, this might take a job from somebody else. I'm not gonna, make a lot of noise about it, but I understand where the other argument is coming from. So if I can understand as a regular schmegular Joe, surely LeBron, as a billionaire, as a man that has been the face of the NBA and carried it very well, by the way, he should be understanding of that. You guys are gonna try to water it down and make it about LeBron's fatherhood being attacked, like we know how he raises his children. If we were to bet, he did an outstanding job, so nobody questions LeBron's fatherhood. But in a case where his son, in case you guys forgot, had cardiac arrest, he's living vicariously for LeBron's dream, not Bronny's dream. We've never heard Bronny talking about it was his dream to play with his dad in the NBA. That always has been LeBron's narrative. So as a professional analyst, Stephen A, amongst many others, has talked about that, saying, hey, could this dream be detrimental for Bronny? It's a fair question to ask. But Stephen A, guys like you and Skip Bayless, you asked for this type of stuff where it's hard for people to root for y'all because they watch you guys tear down LeBron. I would lean that towards more of Skip Bayless because I've also watched Stephen A in the same breath where he criticizes LeBron. I watch Stephen A uplift LeBron time after time again. But some of you D-Riders are only used to people glazing you. You're not, it's foreign to you to hear criticism and at the same rate also being praised. Two things can be true at the same time, but you D-Riders, whether it's about your favorite artist, your favorite XYZ, you only know one slope, and that's the glaze and D-Ride. It gets so annoying. Yes, I acknowledge Stephen A can be a bit raccoonish, but as he said in the clip on Gils Arena, a lot of you folks act like you don't have a boss. You act like you'll be this pro-black revolutionary character that stand on business. You know, some of you Negroes love saying that term, stand on business. I dare you to do that on your job. I dare you to do that. Even my so-called black business owners, I dare you to do that to your diehard customers, to the public at large that will frequent your business. I dare you to do that, but you don't, because you know when it's all said and done, the status quo is the only thing that matters. And that's having a bit of grace, professionalism. In that moment, LeBron was mad. I know some of you guys will not agree with me, but in that moment, LeBron was mad. If Bronny had been a first pick or last pick, it doesn't matter. He's the son of LeBron. Stop acting like y'all don't know what comes with that territory. They are going to critique him if he breathed wrong, the same way they did to his dad. If Michael Jordan had a son that played in the NBA, they'll do the same thing. What we're setting, right, the slippery slope that we're setting right now to go forth is we can't comment on any of these so-called legendary or mid players that played in the NBA and set their mark. We can't criticize their sons. And if y'all haven't noticed, in the last 5 years or so, maybe even more, the NBA is turning into a league where there's a bunch of sons of former players that played in the league, whether great or not. There's a lot of sons of former NBA players. What you're telling me is we can criticize the regular schmegular Joe that none of you have a problem with, but the minute we criticize the son of one of your favorite players or a player you like, it's illegal. We're unallowed to do it, right? I don't accept that. I don't accept that. Shout out to Michael Jordan, because I'm not the biggest fan of him in terms of him as a person in real life, but as a player, I'm a fan of him. But in real life, Michael Jordan, you've heard the story. He's been a dickhead. He's somebody that's rubbed a lot of people off the wrong way. But you know what I've always respected, which Kobe followed suit to this? They don't do a lot of complaining to the media. They don't do a lot of cryptic messaging, because some of y'all said LeBron finally snapped. LeBron always complains. He may not do it, outright, but he does it in a lot of his messaging, a lot of his symbolism. LeBron always complains. This is one of the reasons why it's hard to embrace him as the GOAT, because of a lot of, nuanced things he does. Never mind the fact that he's not clutch, but that's a whole nother story. LeBron has numbers that nobody will beat. His longevity, it shouldn't be used against him, because I hear that argument as well. Well, LeBron played longer to reach XYZ. nonetheless, his longevity is incredible. Some people are talking about steroid allegations. That has yet to be proven. And LeBron has not checked those media personalities. Again, Zaddy got all you Negroes in check. A lot of you Negroes are in check by Zaddy. A lot of these so-called pro-black activist groups won't even throw smut on any of the so-called white supremacy that they, came into fruition about, right? A lot of these groups came about from the so-called grassroots movements to teach us that white supremacy is the reason why we're in the conditions that we face now. But yet when you hear them talk, when they're in these spaces, what do they talk about? Other black people. I don't care if it's black immigrants, other black Americans, black. That's the only time y'all got smoke to each other. So I don't have to like Stephen A. Smith to understand that LeBron has energy more than just him being a father or him being criticized. LeBron James, or the regular schmegler average Joe brother, you Negroes only got smoke for other black men. That's why our sisters respectfully do not have respect for us. Even if you're red pill and you could care less about that statement I said, that our sisters see that. You Negroes kill each other by the boatload, damn near genocide. You Negroes get upset by anyone that look like you, sound like you, and we're supposed to only cater to one another, right? It's always cold when it's about us, but when it's that white man, y'all don't got no words. And as Stephen A. says, and I want to reiterate it once again, most of us that have bosses or doing businesses that rely on customers, you know how to act. It's about the status quo. So miss me with this extra glazing of LeBron. Last time I checked, a lot of you really don't like LeBron. I actually like LeBron, but it's just that you hate Stephen A. more, so you're gonna find a wiggle room to justify what LeBron James did in the middle of a third quarter in front of so many executives, furthermore fueling a stereotype. So this got nothing about him being a father. You wanted to live this dream, LeBron? Well, this is what it comes with. And my guy, you gotta face that. You're not doing your son any favor by doing that publicly. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if Bronny felt like, yeah, Dad, I'm going through it, but that was not a good look. You just made it harder for me. Now people are gonna do two things: treat me with kid gloves on, or damn right be upset at the, so-called coddling of me and the treatment that I'm going through that most young players don't go through. They get put through the fire, and Bronny ain't being put through the fire. If y'all think the fire is criticism, then look, this ain't for you. This league ain't for you. The fire is actually going through the ups and the downs, regardless of how people talking about you. And Bronny James is being scapegoat from that. I like LeBron James. Even with this take, I actually really like LeBron James, but there's just certain things he does that one would have you think that he's above approach, right? He's above any type of criticism. I can't have that, bro. He was dead wrong in this moment. And we're setting forth a precedent that I've seen all too often, where you're showing me as long as you like someone, they can do anything and they get away with it. It goes back into the black community not having accountability. Doesn't matter about who we like or don't like. That's what I had to say about this entire matter. What y'all think in the comment section? This was Gravitating Away on We Need a Reset, and LeBron James' whole mindset needs a damn reset, bro. You guys are in a position better than most people out here really struggling. I'm just saying, you would think you could take criticism, bro, versus a lot of us going through far worse things out here. But I land my plane. Let me meet you in the comment section. I'm gonna holla at y'all, gang.